There was a small house on South Indiana Avenue with 4 occupants in December of 1946. 60-year-old Biddy Johnson, her son Hugh Johnson, her daughter-in-law Reba Hudson Johnson, and her 20-month-old granddaughter Linda Faye Johnson. December 29th of that year was a stormy Sunday in LaFollette. The temperature was unseasonably warm with a high near 60 degrees. Nearly an inch and a half of rain fell as the storm swept through. The temperature began to rapidly fall in the evening hours into the 30s. Reba Johnson and Linda Faye curled up in bed together and eventually slept. Hugh Johnson was said at that time to be at work in the coal mine at Block in western Campbell County. Biddy Johnson was in the next room over from Reba and Linda Faye. In the very early morning hours of December 30th, LaFollette police were called to the Johnson house. There they found Reba Johnson wounded by multiple hatchet strikes. They found Biddy Johnson holding Linda Faye with no blood upon her. In her initial statement to LPD Night Chief Jim Gaylor, Biddy Johnson claimed she heard murmuring coming from Reba's room around midnight to 1 a.m. She said she went to see what the noise was, and a man in gray charged past her, knocking her bodily to the floor. She didn't get a look at who it was with any clarity. She continued into Reba's room, there seeing blood-stained sheets and finding Reba chopped in the head with a hatchet and Linda Faye alive at her side. Biddy told Gaylor she gathered Linda Faye and went to the neighbor's house to summon police. Gaylor found Biddy with the baby in her lap and found Reba had indeed suffered grievous wounds, which would soon prove fatal. Reba Johnson died at 5 a.m., December 30th, 1946, after being chopped in the head with a hatchet. Bloodhounds were quickly brought in, but to no avail. They found nothing notable on or around Indiana Avenue regarding any mystery man in gray. A doctor who examined Reba made a curious statement to the police that at the time was accepted but would likely hold little water in modern investigation. The doctor opined to officers that Reba Johnson had been killed by a woman because a man would only need strike 2 or 3 blows to kill a woman. Reba was struck far more than that. Biddy was taken into custody at City Hall in LaFollette for further questioning. By this time, LPD Chief J.C. Nicholson joined the questioning of Biddy Johnson. She told the same story as before. An unidentified man in gray burst from Reba's bedchamber, knocking Biddy over and getting away. The officers decided that they would arrest Biddy Johnson and hold her in jail, with more intense bouts of questioning to follow. There for a while, she maintained her story about the man in gray. In the following days, officers apparently began to suspect Hugh Johnson may have been involved in his wife's murder. He was also arrested and brought to the jail. Word reached Biddy that Hugh had been in jail. The entire case changed immediately when that happened. Biddy Johnson asked for 2 sheets of paper and a pencil. She quickly wrote 2 documents. The first she had mailed to her other son, Horace. The second was a direct confession that she had murdered Reba Johnson. Upon writing her confession, she hung a blanket from in front of her bars, and she told the trustee who brought her coffee it was because she was changing clothes. She took his offered coffee, likely thinking it was her last cup, and proceeded to slit her wrist and her throat with disposable razor blades she had somehow gotten into the jail cell. It was soon after Sheriff Rose Kitts came to the jail and wanted to look in on Johnson. There he discovered the cuts Biddy had inflicted upon herself. Johnson was taken to the hospital where the examining physician declared her wounds were not very severe. He then stitched up the cuts and sent her back to the jailhouse. Biddy would claim that no law enforcement had bothered to search her and claimed to have entered the jail with 8 razor blades hidden in her shoes and other places. Officers said that wasn't true, that she had been searched before entering the jail. Biddy's letter to her son Horace of Duff, Tennessee reads,
"Well, I am here where I can hear the Sunday school bell ring, and I just realized how sweetly they ring. Sunday, I'll be where I can hear a preacher and singing. I won't stop till I do. You all know it. Somewhere I've read in the good word once a man, twice a child. They say your mind will become as a little child. And when I saw her take up the hatchet and say, I want it kept where she can't get it, for she'll cut off her toes or fingers, not knowing any better. When I picked it up, I was the same way. I never realized it any harm or sin, or never knowed it was anything more than a block of wood.
Was Biddy saying that Reba was nothing more than a block of wood to her in the moment of the attack? It certainly seems possible. She would seem to blame failing mental faculties for her actions. The letter continues.
I can't make up my mind what I'd done with it. I know I heard the cry of the baby. I picked it up and run. But I don't feel a bit condemned, and I don't feel responsible for my own act. I haven't gained my nerves, nor a little bit of my mind, so I can't realize what it was about. I can't make things right. What few days I am in this world.
It would seem as she had penned these words, she planned on ending her life. She goes on to say,
My nerves and so many things, and strange people, cause me to tell so many different things. I hope the good Lord will stand by me. I can't tell the very thing that happened. It's all just like a dream. I owe no one on earth, I hope. No one has caused any part in this act but me alone. So I have no cause for that, only weakness of my nerve. Well, I'm sure sorry I had to tell many different things. The reason I told, Carl was in the room. I know he'd kill me if he got the chance. He came over to City Hall and made faces at me.
We are as yet unsure who Carl is that she speaks of here, possibly an angry relative of Reba. We are searching to discover more information about him. Johnson's letter to Horace continues as follows.
I never saw anyone in the room but me. I have made up my mind to tell the truth in every way. I could not remember half what went on. They asked me so many questions, I could not answer them all, and it got on my nerves so bad, I didn't know what to do. If I'd had a little more time and been down here where I would not have been afraid, I would have done the very best I could.
Here we see that Johnson was being questioned intently and was on the verge of panic. She had a lawyer when the trial started, but it is unclear how much questioning she faced without any legal representation following her arrest and before the confession. Johnson continues.
I never saw anyone in the room, and I'm going to tell the truth from now on. I know I have not got long in this world, but I still have hope for a better world, although this awful crime is on me and me alone. I hope sometime to tell the whole thing, just like it happened. I made up my mind to tell the truth, and nothing else, for all the lies and mistakes I have made, and not to have to suffer for the crime, for I could not remember what happened, and I mean to tell everything, just as it comes to mind. Horace, if anything happens to me, just put me away with the burial fund at Charlie Mars. Don't spend anything and don't pay for any costly flowers. It will be all right. Don't take me to the church, just from the undertaker's to the graveyard. I brought my safety razor down to Hugh's house. I had 3 blades. I got 8 at Hugh's. I had planned to take them to your house. I
Here Johnson makes a very abrupt, swift, and suddenly describes how she killed Reba.
The way I killed her, I got up on her bed, on my knees, and went to hacking her. I hacked her a few licks, and the blood went to flying. I don't see how I didn't get any blood on me. I jumped off the bed, and Hatchet fell off the bed, and I grabbed the baby and ran out the door to Mrs. Marcy, and it made the alarm. There was no one else in the house with me but the baby and Reba.
To say at least, the letter was bizarre and damning for Biddy Johnson, damning for its contents, bizarre for the reasons we will discuss after we read her confession to the police. Biddy confesses.
I have told every time that I wanted justice given, and the right one punished. I could not ever make up my mind who the right one was, until now. One was all that was in the crime, and it was a woman. No man had anything to do with it. There never was any plans laid by the guilty one or anyone else. No malice, no spite, or anything else. I don't know why it was done, but I do know I did it myself. I loved Reba. Hugh loved her. He would not have harmed a hair on her head. I did not want him to harm her. I wanted them to live together till death seemed cause to part them. I can't tell why I'd done it. I don't know why I'd done it. But I do know I did it myself. I will tell you, no man on earth touched her or made any plans. It's all just like a dream. I don't see why they want to lie to Hugh, for I know he is just as clean as the little dove that carried the olive leaf to Noah on the ark. I don't mean for anyone to suffer for my act, but I don't know the cause. I don't think I did it through madness or malice. I will tell the cause when it comes to mind. So will you stop hunting for poor, innocent working men? You have the right one, and it is a woman. So I'm ready to take the charge, whatever it may be. And I would tell the cause, but as far as I can remember, I had no cause. I do know it was not a frame-up, nor did anyone hear it mentioned, nor did anyone know why it happened, nor did anyone jointly involve or make any plans. So if they will let what little mind I have get settled, I will try my best to explain how I did it and went at it. I'm not writing this because they picked up Hugh. I started to write it yesterday, but they came in so fast I couldn't get it started. I know Hughie is clear, and everyone else is but me. I don't want you to turn me loose. I might kill someone else. If I would kill one without a cause, I may hurt another. I wanted to ask Hugh yesterday if we had made it up to go to California. I knowed he would say no. It never has been mentioned. So I asked for the chair's sentence and get it over with as soon as you can. There is no use to go through the trouble of lawing. So just get ready. I'm not afraid. get forgiven for lying. I will not suffer over the crime. Just stop hunting for more men and let the one suffer that is guilty. And don't think anyone framed it up or it was ever thought 20 minutes before it happened, or even 10 minutes. Maybe, although I never played off as crazy to get out of it, when the doctor came in, I thought he was Mr. Carton. Mr. Gaylor told me who it was after he left. They have all been asking me to tell of every little angle I could. That's why I'm telling every little thing I can think of about what happened. Since I don't know what happened at the time, just let all the innocent people go and rest sure you have got the right one. One is all, and that is me.
It staggers belief that in this era that such a confession could be taken seriously. Johnson begs throughout to leave her son and even asks for no trial to happen for herself, even denying she did it because they had brought Hugh in for questioning. In Johnson's letter to her son Horace, she continued her denial of knowing how she committed the murder until late in the letter when she suddenly gives details on exactly what she did. Johnson attempted to make an insanity plea, but the court found her sane. At the trial, she had one more bizarre take. She claimed a cat came into the house in the evening and that Reba had told her to put it out of the house even if she had to kill it. She claimed she kept hearing the cat during the night and couldn't sleep, and that when she was killing Reba, she probably thought she was killing the cat. Did Reba Johnson die at the hands of her mother-in-law? In the eyes of the law of the day, she did. The jury found Biddy guilty in 10 minutes. She put up no defense. All witnesses were called by the state, and they were officers and a doctor. Biddy took the stand only to tell her tale of the cat. Through the modern lens, we see what is clearly a wild confession that makes little sense. She was known to obsess over her son, so when he was questioned, she had a major motive to confess. She was clearly prepared to die to avoid even a trial. She was a woman who supposedly committed a brutal hatchet murder that splattered blood all over the sheets and walls, but got none on Biddy herself despite the up-close nature of her act. We can't say for sure who killed Reba Johnson 73 years ago, but it would seem that despite her confession, it is very possible it wasn't Biddy. Any chance to prove Biddy's guilt or innocence are now lost in the pages of history. The record will forever say that Biddy was a murderer who was sentenced to 99 years in prison. It was a very notorious crime, but not an uncommon event in Lawless, LaFollette. During the course of research on this crime, we found another murder trial was held in the same day as Biddy Johnson's, in the very same courtroom. Stay tuned as we track down the details of this case for future episodes. And that's the way history recorded it. I'm Bill Rail, Police Chief for the City of LaFollette, for the Volunteer Time series Lawless LaFollette. You have just listened to the Hatchet House Murder.